Here's how to make fermented vegetables. They are one of the best probiotic foods. The probiotics can be used to naturally cure gum disease, help lessen the symptoms from allergies, and resolve digestive issues. If you think I did a nice job on the video, a thumbs up would be appreciated. Subscribe if you'd like to see my other videos.
This is what you'll need to make your fermented vegetables. About 2 pounds of bok choy, 5 or 6 cloves of garlic, a small piece of fresh ginger, 2 carrots, 5 or 6 red radishes, and an onion. You'll also need some chipotle pepper, some paprika, pickling salt or kosher salt, no table salt. Some people say that the anti-caking agent on kosher salt can inhibit the fermentation process. However, I haven't found that to be a problem. You'll also need a non-reactive bowl, something ceramic, no metal, no plastic. You'll need some sort of non-reactive weight to weight down the vegetables while they're fermenting. I'll talk about that later. And you'll also need some spring water or non-chlorinated water. That is important. You don't want chlorinated water because that can inhibit the fermentation process. Wash and cut up the bok choy, onion, carrots, and radishes. I'll insert a clip of a sped up video of how to chop up the bok choy in case you're not familiar with that. Mix the vegetables up and put them in the non-reactive bowl. Make the brine by adding a half a tablespoon per cup of spring water. It'll probably take about 5 cups of liquid, and you want to stir up the spring water and salt and make sure it's dissolved. And then pour it over the vegetables. And like I said, it should take about 5 cups. And you want to do this until the vegetables are covered. And by the way, I have the recipe and the important instructions in the box below the video. So you can just pay attention and watch the video, and then you can copy and paste the recipe and the directions into a Word document and save it. I finished adding the brine mixture to the vegetables. It did take 5 cups. You'll notice that the vegetables aren't entirely covered with the brine, and I'm not worried about that right now because I'm going to let the vegetables and the brine sit at room temperature. It's about 75 degrees right now. I'm going to let them sit out for 2, 3, 4 hours, and the fermentation process will begin. What will happen is the water will expand due to the fermentation process, and I'll probably have to pour off some of the brine before the final process. The vegetables and the salt brine have been at room temperature for about 4 hours. You'll notice that the volume of the salt brine has increased. That means that the fermentation process has begun. I'm not going to pour any of the liquid off of the vegetables for the rest of the fermentation process. We will be putting a weight on them, and when we put the weight on them, you'll see that the vegetables will be covered with the salt brine, and that's very important. I've chopped up the ginger, and if you remember, we had some paprika and chipotle pepper and 6 cloves of garlic. I'm going to add these items to the salt, brine, and vegetable mixture. I'll run the garlic through a garlic press. If you don't have a garlic press, you can peel the garlic and chop it up finely, or you can peel it and put it along with the piece of ginger into a food processor and chop them up finely that way. I've added the garlic, ginger, chipotle pepper, and the paprika to my vegetable and brine mixture. I just mixed it in with my hand, and notice that if I push down on the vegetables, that they're covered with the brine. That's very important for this next step. I put my vegetables in the basement to complete the fermentation process. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks for them to be finished. The more salt in the brine and the warmer the temperature, the faster the fermentation process. What you can do to determine if they're done or not is to occasionally eat one of the carrots. When the carrots become soft and not crunchy any longer, it's a good time to put your vegetables in jars and refrigerate them. The other thing that you may want to do is put a tray under your vegetables, because the liquid will continue to expand as it ferments and it may overflow. I sometimes take a turkey baster and I remove some of the excess liquid from my container so it doesn't overflow.
Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to look in the box below the video for additional information. If you think I did a nice job on the video, please consider giving me a pat in the back and give me a thumbs up.